All right, for our first video covering Star Wars, the role-playing game, we are going to look at character creation, maybe look at some of the intro stuff, but we're looking at character creation. It's real simple in this game. This harkens back to a day when you just wanted to get your character made, get it done. Let's jump into the game and let's start playing. And this game is absolutely amazing at that. There's very little I dislike about this game. It might not meet some of the more modern trends and concepts in gaming, but this game, for the purposes of playing the original trilogy of Star Wars, is damn near perfection. And let's take a look at that right now. All right. Oops, that's not sharing the screen. Share the screen. Where is it? There it is. All right, there we go. Cool. So there's our cover. That's right. We're going to be covering first edition of the game. I do own first edition, but unfortunately, I don't own the cool version of first edition, which is actually first edition. I own the 30th year reprint or whatever. So there we go. Scroll down here. And there's going to be a lot of skipping when it comes to this, because this game, like I said, is laid out a little weird. So creating a character. Actually, did I want to start up here? There was something. Yeah, I want to start up here. We don't care about that. Players. All right. Let's just look at this, because this is one of those books that's broken into a player section and a game master section. Players, you don't have to read this whole book in order to play. Just the players section, pages 6 through 24. Yeah, you do not need to know a lot. This game is not complex. And that is its benefit, not its drawback. That is a feature, not a bug. You also need to look at the character templates towards the back of the book. You can read the rest of the book when you have the time and want to, but only Game Masters should read the Rebel Breakout Adventure. Or just don't run it and do your own thing. This book has everything. It has a players section, has a Game Master section, even has an adventure in here. So you can start just with this first book. Game Masters have to do more work than players. If you plan to Game Master Star Wars, the role-playing game, you'll have to read most of this book. After all, part of your job, that's right, J-O-B job, will be to make sure the players are following the rules. The Game Master section provides hints and suggestions to get novice Game Master started and explains the rules and details. Tons of examples in this book. Tons of examples. By the way, this is not a fat book. The rules are that streamlined and that simple, and they work that well. That tons of examples, tons of advice. They said laid out a bit weird, but it's still a great book. The adventure section provides more game mastering advice. You may want to read it after you've run your first few sessions of Star Wars, the role-playing game. It also provides a complete first adventure plus lots of adventures, ideas you can flesh out into full adventures. All right, so that's what you get in this book. That's, I think, less than 200 pages. Crazy talk. So let's talk about making a character now. So there we go. Selecting a template. So what you're going to, the first thing you do is select a template. And you know what? So that I don't have to keep going back to them, let's look at the templates now. Oh, I went way too far. I went way too far. Just went past them. Is it 124 or something like that? Nope. Still in the templates. Templates are sideways. I want to get to the first page. There we go. Because this is the main character sheet that you'll be using. So here's your character sheet. And up here, you got your, character description stuff. Over here, you have your attributes and your skills, and these are all the skills in the game. But notice you could have an extra skill on here, so that's why they gave you extra lines. It's a good chunk of skills, while still allowing different characters of similar themes to have unique strengths. And we'll get into exactly how to utilize all this stuff. Some of it in this video, some of it in the next video. And then, of course, if you're going to be, a Jedi or some sort of Force user, you've got Control, Sense, and Alter, and then your Force points, Dark Side points, wound status, and skill points down here. Skill points are to raise your skills. Wound status is your current condition. There aren't hit points in this game. It's just a status. And then your Force and Dark Side points. If you're Jedi, you don't want those Dark Side points. Get some equipment over here, the background of your character, personality, a quote, and connection with other characters. Boom, and you're done. Now, I'll tell you that I usually needed a little more space than what this character sheet offered, but hey, to get you started, you're good to go. And no, this doesn't include your spaceship. That's a different sheet. But then, here we go. I know they're sideways, but that's how they are in the book, and I guess I could rotate it. God, you guys complain a lot. Didn't even complain, but I'm blaming you. There we go. So we'll rotate it. They're in the book sideways, though, and this is what you do. And these are the starting. You're going to get points, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, to actually put into the skills. So let's find something that people like to be. Oh, brash pilot. There we go. Brash pilot. Got all your blank stuff here. Starts with a dexterity of 3 dice, knowledge of 2 dice, mechanical 4 dice. Why? Because you got to fix that ship that you're in. Also, because it includes astrogation, which pilots, gets you from one star system to the next. We're not going to talk about all the skills when we get to that video. I think that's the next video, but we'll cover a couple of them. And you got perception, strength, and where is piloting in here? Oh, I guess it starts. So that's under mechanical. That's also why I forgot that that's under mechanical. Like I said, I did not read a lick of this book before doing this. And it's been a long time since I played. So there you go. All your mechanical stuff is right there. And you even get beast riding because somehow that's mechanical. Anyway, and then on the back side of it, it gives you a little, it tells you a little bit about it. But it's upside down. Great. Who cares? You're not going to read it anyway. So it tells a little bit about the character. So, and then you just pick a template, and that's where you get started. Now, well, let's just say for a second, let's go back down to this. You're like, I'm a brash pilot. But you decide, I don't know, maybe through injury or maybe through role playing or maybe through just the course of the campaign, that you don't really care about raising your piloting skills that much anymore. And you want to get more into the technical side, or you want to get more into the brawling side. You find yourself, because your stupid mouth, because remember, you are a brash pilot, you find yourself doing more brawling and you want to be more on the melee combat fisticuff side. Okay. Do it. Just as you're increasing your character, just start putting your points into brawling, into stamina, and that's how you do that. This just gives you a starting point. That's all this does. This is just your starting point. From there, you're in control. You're technically in control of your character, even from your initial skill points that we still haven't even talked about yet, that you get to place around. This just tells you what your character's basic attributes are. And then you put the points in. So in a way, these templates mean nothing. They just give you a bunch of things to consider. Like, yeah, that looks good. So what's this one over here? The bounty hunter. Well, what does strength of 3D plus 2 means? Well, hopefully we'll talk about that in the rules, but in case we don't, that means you roll 3 dice and add plus 2 to the total. So if you roll a 3, a 4, and a 3, that's 3 and 4 is 7, so that's 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. You get a 12. Oh, there you go. They're called pips. Unless I'm wrong. Unless I'm forgetting. All right, let's so simple. Again, everything about this game is just about simplicity. Now, I forgot what page we are on. Okay, we're past that. Okay, so now you understand what the templates are. At least I hope you do. He describes a character who fits the Star Wars universe and provides a basic game information for the character, the numbers you use when the character does something in the game, as well as background material to tell you about the character's motives, what he or she is like, and how he or she reacts to other characters. Again, you make the character you want. In fact, there's going to be a part in here somewhere. I forget. It's something about scouting. I forget the name of it. That's going to talk. You can play a little bit against type as well. I mean, your attributes are going to still be what they are, but the personality of the character is yours. So look them over and choose the one you'd like to play. The character template is only an outline. You have to flesh it out. For example, there are a lot of smugglers in the Star Wars universe. Han Solo is one, and a very good one. But there are plenty of others. Your character could be one of them. But every smuggler is a little different from every other smuggler. So when you decide to be a smuggler, you must decide exactly what your character is like. And as somebody who likes good role-playing, who actually likes character growth, your character can change over time. I mean, while it happened kind of quickly because it was based in movies, Han Solo's character changed from the beginning of Star Wars to the end of Return of the Jedi. Your character can change as well. See, even if another player chooses a template you can still choose that template too. There can be 2 smugglers in the same group. Absolutely can. You're going to spend your points hopefully differently. You're going to have different personalities. You're going to have different equipment. You're going to be different characters. You're going to be different people is what I was going to say. That's why I air quoted that. it's okay, even though there are a ton of templates out there, it's okay to have the same template. Or maybe one of them's the brash pilot, but he still works as a smuggler. Just because it says smuggler doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Just because it says brash pilot doesn't mean you can't also be a smuggler. It's just you pick that template. I think it gives you starting gear too. I just remembered that. Oops. However, a group should be balanced. There's that bad B word. I disagree with that. Or don't even know what it's going to say after that, but I disagree with that. I don't think groups have to be balanced at all. Every character has different abilities. Some are good at flying starships, some at hand-to-hand combat, some know a lot about the planets and alien races of the galaxy, some have Jedi powers. Your group will do better if it contains a good mix of skills. Generally speaking, that is true. Okay, I guess I don't disagree. Just the word balance always kind of makes me go, If all the players want to be smugglers, you may have a problem. Not really. Before selecting your character template, it's a good idea to coordinate with the other players. But the only problem you might have doing that I can see is if you really want to have a Jedi. I've actually seen a lot of games run, they don't even allow somebody to be a Jedi. Since it's the original trilogy era, you could all play smugglers. It just means that one of your attributes is going to be low, so it's going to be a little harder to raise it up. But you can still do everything. Every character can do everything in the game with the exception of force powers. Copying templates. You record information about your character on your template, his equipment, appearance, skills, wound status, and so on. When you play, you'll want your template in front of you on the table so you can pencil in changes as they occur. This is a problem since the templates are bound to the book. One solution is to photocopy. This is an interesting little paragraph here. Each page is divided into 3 templates, and templates are printed front and back. The front of each template is printed with game data, and the back with background information. Cut the photocopies part. Don't cut your book, folks. And make sure you get both the front and the back. Honestly, I played more often on a scratch sheet of paper out of a notebook. Just saying. That's how simple this is. But you can photocopy the other way is photocopy the main character sheet and then just jot down the information from the templates in the back, the 3-page spread type stuff. If you don't have access to a photocopy machine or time to get copies, just copy down templates attribute on scrap paper. Don't worry about copying the background information. Read it once and refer back to the book if you need to refresh your memory. There you go. Really, that's all it's for. It's for equipment and your starting attributes. Customizing. Next, now here's where you start to make it your own. The next step is to customize your template, but before you can do that, you need to know a bit about skills and attributes, really. Die codes. Oh, I forgot about that term. Yeah, die codes. That's a term you're gonna see throughout this entire book. I completely forgot that's what, when you see like the D6 or the 2D plus 2 or whatever, that's I'm sorry, not D6, 6D, 2D plus 2, things like that. That's those are called die codes, and that just tells you what dice you're rolling. If you try to do anything in the game, you'll roll the dice. The higher the number you roll, the better, and better chance that you can do what you want. How many dice do you roll? Well, that depends on your die code. Every skill and attribute has a die code. So when you use a skill or attribute, you look at its code to see how many dice you should roll. Here's a typical die code, 3D. That means you roll 3 dice. Remember, everything in this game, 6-sided dice. So that's 3 6-sided dice, and you add them together. That means you roll 3 dice and add the numbers together. D stands for die. So you roll 3 on one die, 2 on another die, and 6 on a third. Your total die roll is 11. Here's another die code, 2D plus 2. That means you roll 2 dice, add the numbers rolled, and add 2 to the total. So if you roll 4 on one die, 3 on the other, your total is 9. Goes 4 plus 3 is 7, and then you add the plus 2 from this right there. Hopefully you can see it on the screen, and that becomes 9. That's simple, man. It is that simple. And you know what? I bet you have D6s floating around your house somewhere. In general, die codes consist of a number, how many dice you roll, followed by a D, sometimes followed by a plus sign, another number, which you add to the numbers on the dice. Attributes and skills. Hold on. Yep. Oh, we're still on page 7. Okay, good. Because attributes and skills we're covering in the next section. So hold on a second. Let me make sure. Nope, we're still doing that here. Because this is about character creation. Okay. The next video is going to be all about attributes and skills. But for now, we still need to read this so you understand on the character sheet. Every character has attributes and skills. Attributes are things you're born with, innate abilities. There are 6 in the game: dexterity, knowledge, mechanical, perception, strength, and technical. Skills are abilities you learn instead of ones you're born with. You can improve your attributes during the game just as you cannot. You should never, by the way, as a technical writer, you should never use contractions in a technical manual. Anyway, you can't improve your attributes during a game, just as you can't make yourself smarter or taller. Oh my God, there's going to be a lot of comments on that. Yes, you can. There, wait. Okay. We're going to go with what the book says. In the Star Wars universe, you can't make yourself smarter. You can improve your skills. Your character has a die code for every attribute and skill. The die code is the dice you roll when you use the over here attribute or skill. Example, look, we get our first example. Do I want to read it? Sure, why not? Rourke Garnet's Rourke. That's going to come across great on YouTube. Rourke. Garnet's dexterity is 3d plus 1. So if he tries to juggle something, his player rolls 3 dice, adds the rolls together, and adds 1 to the total. Your attribute codes are printed on your character template. Different character templates have different codes, but all smugglers, for example, have the same attributes. Look, I think there are like 30 templates. You're going to find a loadout of attributes that makes you happy. In fact, it might even be all the possible combinations. I don't know. However, you get to choose your own skill code. So if you remember on the templates, we're page 8 here. Let's just do 130. All right, I'm not going to turn it from sideways. Just go up here. So notice that these die codes for the attributes are in bold. There you go. They're bold. You're not changing them. All right. So choosing skill codes, each attribute has a list of skills printed underneath on the character template. Example, blaster, brawling parry, dodge, and several others are listed under dexterity. Those are all dexterity skills. We are not going to... This is what a completed sheet looks like. There you go. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but you can see that he wrote in blaster. He gave himself 2D for his blaster, gave himself 1D for dodge. You might not be able to see that. Hold on. There you go. So his dexterity is naturally 3D plus 1, and now his blaster starts off at 5D plus 1. So that means he gave himself 2 dice in blaster to increase it. So, and dodge, he gave himself 1 die, because it was 3D plus 1, now it's 4D plus 1. And I'm not even going to guess. I think it's 17, but I might be wrong for how many points you get to spread around. Or is it? Oh, I'm sorry, 7. 17, 7. It's been a long time since I played. A skill starts with the same code as the attribute it's printed under. That's right. So let's go back to this over here. If he needs to roll a command roll, he's rolling 3D because that's what his perception is. He's going to be rolling 3 dice. Now, we'll see if there are rules in here about what if you don't actually have the skill, is that just natural aptitudes at 3D? I think it is, if I remember correctly. But there might be some rule in here about, oh no, if you don't actually have at least 1 die in it, blah, blah, or 1 pip in it. I don't know. But for now, command is 3D. Hide, sneak, he gets 3 dice to hide and sneak. So, but you get 4 dice for bargaining. All right. Let's go. Example, Rourke's dexterity code is 3D plus 1. That means his blaster code is 3D plus 1. His brawling parry code is 3D plus 1, and so on. You have 7 dice to allocate to skills. To allocate 1D to a skill, add 1D to the attributes code, and write the result next to the skill name. Now look at this. Look at all these examples, and we're not even to the big section of examples yet. I love this book. Is so well done. The layout is a bit silly sometimes, but this aspect of it is just absolutely amazing. Rourke's dexterity is 3D plus 1. His player allocates 1D to dodge. His dodge skill code now is 4D plus 1. The player writes 4D plus 1 next to dodge on the template. He has 6D left to allocate 2 other skills, and this is during character creation. No skill can be increased by more than 2D. That's just at character creation. Later on, you can have all types of Ds out there for the things that you're trying to do. All right, we're not going to read that example because I think that's self-explanatory. Okay, note for players using scrap paper to record characters. All skills start with the same code and attribute that printed under. So you only need to write the skills to which you allocate dice on your... Okay, that's, again, a little weird, but... Special rules for the Force. Special Force skills are printed on a few character templates. Alien Student, failed Jedi, the minor Jedi, and the quixotic Jedi. If a force skill is printed on your template, the skill code is printed next to it. Force skills, unlike all others, are not related to attributes, so their own thing. If you have a force skill on your template, you can allocate dice from your 7D to increase your skill code. If you don't have force skills, too bad. The only way to gain a force skill is to find someone who knows one and can teach it to you. You also have to be force sensitive. Or is that second edition? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't speak out of turn here. This is first edition here. Force points. All characters begin with 1 force point. Enter 1 in the force point circle on the character template, and that includes even if you're not force sensitive, you'll have 1. And we'll talk more about that. I think next. No, I think it is this week. Might even be the next video. Anyway, equipment. Put your equipment in there. Character connections. That will come from your template, but you can work with your game master on character connections. Yeah, look at the connections with other characters section in the back of your template. It suggests some ways you might meet or know about other characters. I honestly say this is something that's what's great for, in the modern day, we call it session 0. I think this is great for session 0. Work this stuff out with the players and game master. And here we go. And so this gives an example in here of how you can, if you want to pause this screen so you can read it, how your characters can come to know each other. That entire thing there. Hopefully it's in high enough quality for you to see it. And pause it if you want to. Else get the book. Ooh, can you get the book? I don't know if you can still get the 30th anniversary stuff anymore. Okay. What is this? Game. It goes for character connections. Okay, so the different character connection types. It talks about character connections in here. Let's just look at. Let's look at love. Love, exciting and. Oh, no. Love is a very strong tie, but a tricky one to pull off. Many players are embarrassed by the idea of playing lovers. So this is talking about player characters. It's easiest when the players themselves are married or at least involved with one another. Oh, that breakup is great. It's great. Note to the game master. Never force love on your players. Don't try to be the guy that's, I'm going to hook you two up. It's one thing to tell 2 players you're related. They may not like it, but they don't have to. Relatives can dislike each other. It's another thing to say you're in love. That's taking away too much of a player's free will, what we now call player agency. Players want their characters to fall in love. That's great. Creates the kind of bond you want to encourage, but don't force it on them. All right. And here we go. This is, I think, the last part of this. Yeah. Hold on. Maybe I'm... Yeah. This is the last part of this. Now, this is the part that I want to kind of... what I was talking about earlier about you can make the character your own. Aren't there any talkative scouts or humble nobles or cautious pilots? Sure there are. The backgrounds that come with each template are designed to give you a role you can play immediately. Character templates make choosing a character fast and easy. Look, if your character dies right away, and when we get into combat, you're going to find out that it is both really easy. No, it's not really hard. You can die pretty quickly in this game. I mean, blasters kill. Unlike the movies, blasters kill. Although you do have workarounds for it. Force points are a benefit to you. But and that stormtrooper armor really isn't that good. I'm just saying. But you're going to want to jump right back into the action and play, right? This isn't a Palladium game where it takes 7 hours to make a character, but also takes 7 hours to kill one. I mean, if you die in Palladium, you kind of wanted to die. That's my take. Here, when we get to the combat video, which will be the 3rd one today, it'll be the last one for today. So it'll be 2 videos from now. If you're watching this on Monday, the day that this video releases, it'll be on Friday. You'll get that one. You'll see that, man, combat is so fast in a good way. All right, but if a background write-up isn't quite the character you want to play, go ahead and change things. Character templates are supposed to help you imagine your character, not restrict your imagination. Go ahead, rewrite the background on your sheet, or tell the other players what your character is like. Change the template name to suit. Talk things over with your game master. That's the most important part. Talk things over with your game master. You may have some ideas too. Don't change the attribute codes though. If you wanted to, you could write smuggler on the top of your character sheet and have the character actually be a failed Jedi. If none of the templates, even modified, fit your character idea, you can even design your own template. See page 81 for rules on how, and I don't think we're going to be getting into that. It's very simple. I can't believe that you won't find one. I really can't. Because of all the templates I have out there, I'm pretty sure all the possible mathematical permutations were taken up. There's really a +1 or +2 that you didn't get in one spot. That's just odd to me, but whatever. By the way, it is possible to play droids, but the rules for droids are a little different from other characters. If you're interested, see page 82. I don't know if we're going to talk about that. I don't see that on my list of things to talk about. All right, well. One more thing, because this book is all out of order. We got to go to page 15. And 12, 13. Hand to hand. Here, the skill points. In the middle of combat, hey, let's talk about skill points. All right, at the end of an adventure, the Game Master may assign you skill points. The better you did the adventure, the more skill points you receive. You get them for doing great deeds, for outwitting your opponents, and for playing your role well. Notice none of it there says for killing. It says for doing great deeds, for outwitting your opponents, and for playing your role well. You can spend skill points to increase your skill codes. Once again, you can never increase your attribute codes. To increase a skill code by To increase a skill code by 1 pip, you must spend as many skill points as the number before the D. Examples: increasing a skill of 2D costs 2 skill points. Increasing a skill of 5D plus 1 costs 5 skill points. Increasing a skill of 3D plus 2 costs 3 skill points. Now, why did they use those 3 examples? Oh, it looks like they're going to tell. Okay, good. They're going to tell it right here. When you increase a skill by 1 pip, a skill with no plus, so no plus modifier, goes to +1. So for 2 skill points, this 2D goes to 2D plus 1. All right? A +1 goes to +2. So increasing this 5D plus 1 by spending 5 skill points goes to 5D plus 2 on your character sheet. And +2 loses the plus but goes to the next die. So this 3D plus 2 costs 3 skill points because it uses its current, but then becomes 4D. You roll 4 6-sided dice. And, yep, these examples here just said what I was saying there, of course. You can spend your skill points in any way you like, increasing any of your skills by any amount, as long as you don't spend more skill points than you have. You can save skill points if you don't want to spend them all at once. Just write a note on your character template saying how many skill points you've saved. You can spend them later at the end of any session of play. There you go. All right. So that's it for character creation. It is crazy simple. You got your template. You get 7 dice. Let's stop that. There we go. You get 7 dice to add to it, and you're off to the races. And I know I saw from the corner of my eye a lot of chat was going, no super chats from what I could tell popped up. But I will take a moment here to bring this back over here and see if I can scroll through in this chat to see if anything stands out. All right. Played standard. See if you pass the skill, even though. Oh, I think that was earlier. Yep, that was earlier. Oh, I scrolled back pretty far. Okay, read that one. Other way around, Genesis is based on Star Wars. Is it? The Genesis system is based on Star Wars? I thought this Genesis system came out before Fantasy Flight had Star Wars game. I've heard Genesis many years ago. But okay, whatever. Let's see. Oh my god, these are all ones that I read earlier. Saga system got skills right. I think this version got skills right. Let's see. Oh, apparently I read that. Oh god, I'm still. So Walter MC says, "Thank you for being a member for 20 months, sir. West End Game Star Wars, the surprising origin of so much that would become the expanded universe Star Wars canon." Yes, that is an interesting tidbit that I do find interesting, is that a lot of the stuff that was written in these books made its way into actual Star Wars. LucasArts, Lucasfilms, Lucas himself, whoever was in control of all that, looked at what they were writing and just injected it into the Star Wars canon universe for the expanded universe. Yep. Is this 1E or 2E? This is gonna be 1E. So the soundtrack on vinyl. Sharing. When Star Wars released in theaters in the late 90s, someone convinced our group to play this D6 game. It killed 6 years. It killed a 6-year Beyond the Supernatural campaign. Wow. Wow. Hey, you know what? I love my Palladium, right? But I also love the Star Wars D6 system. Oof. I'm not big into the Beyond the Supernatural theme. I'm not into the Call of Cthulhu stuff, the X-Files thing. It's not my thing. But I'm just thinking like the games I do, like Palladium Fantasy or After the Bomb or Robotech. What would I rather play? Can we play one on Saturday and one on Sunday? Like, Tui had too many skills added for no good reason. Yeah, it had a lot of extra, like optional, or not optional, but additional rules added in that I thought were for no good reason either. I remember we were looking up a lot of stuff oftentimes in second edition. Tui also rules. Oh, this I didn't. So I never played Jedi. Tui also ruined the coolness of the Force powers. Okay. Might have to look into that at some point. I don't play Jedis. I usually play some sort of a technician because nobody else does. Morvin says, to me, this will always be the Star Wars game. It allowed for so much flexibility and was easily tailored for the type of game you wanted. Yes, again, I accept the argument from the folks out there who say that the D20 version is better for the prequels. I will not contend against that. I can understand that. I might even agree with it, even though I hate the D20 system. But for the original trilogy, this is the perfect system. And as much as, we like Kevin Simbita and Palladium books here, I'm kind of glad he didn't get this one because I really think that this D6 system fit the original trilogy more. Now, I will say for the prequel and maybe even the sequel or the expanded universe or whatever stuff, I would have preferred the Palladium system over the D20. But no game perfectly fits its setting like the West End game Star Wars does to the original trilogy. Astrogation gets an R2 unit, yeah. All of West End Games Library was released in the public domain a decade ago and available for free. Oh, really? Everything except for the rule book, if I remember correctly. The rule books are still, unless they put them back up, they were up for a short time when they did their 30th year stuff, and then they took them down again. But like all the splat books and so forth, my understanding is you're correct. Somebody can fact check that if they want. But the last time I looked for the rule books, they weren't there, but it had everything else. Still prefer homemade character sheets. Yep. More dark side points and more Jedi have to kill to balance things out. Kinda, yeah. We'll talk about force powers next week. You have the base skill at your stat level. Okay, so untrained equals stat roll. Got it. Okay. Yep. That's what I thought it was, but remember, I haven't played in a long time. What's OOP? I don't know what OOP is. Too many characters during one session. Well, at some point, maybe you might want to be a little more tactical, or your game master's being a dick, or you're just in a bad situation. Never tell me the odds. All right. Can we play D6 Star Wars 6th edition Battlelord? Can we play D6 Star Wars and 6th edition Battlelords of the 23rd century? You could absolutely do. Here we go. Instead of making a Savage Battlelords, make a D6 Battlelords. Armor might be a problem, but that would be amazing. That would be amazing. You could absolutely convert that stuff into here. I'm in. I'm playing that game with you. Let's do it. Let's do it. Aw, thank you, Travis. Appreciate that. Let's see. I know there are a lot of people who agree with you on this one. I don't know if I do. But it's a very solid system. And yes, you can. I don't know. There's something about my fantasy games that I want to have a little more than what's offered there. But that's just personal preference. I think the D6 system is absolutely, and there's mini D6 and open D6, and there's like a few different variants of this version. Weird Guy. There we go. That's the guy I was thinking about earlier. If Weird Guy was here, he could tell me what all those different variants are. Because I know he's a fan of all of that. Overtly overpowered, out of print. Oh, out of print. Yeah. Okay. So, play Star Trek and West End Games D6. It'd be better than the FASA version. Actually, I like the FASA version. I like the FASA version characters and the Star Trek 3 Combat Simulator. The only thing I didn't like were the adventures, because the adventures were pure railroads. Like, pure railroads. Like, no, guys, you can't go there. You have to do this kind of railroads. And that made it very difficult to run. I liked the little bridge simulator that they had, where one person would play the engineer, one person would play the captain, one person would play the helms, and you'd be like, I need you to put shields up to this high. I need you to do this. Need you to do that. I found that to be fun. Armor just needs to be increased. Yeah, probably. Okay, well, those are the comments. Thanks for putting up with me doing this by myself. In the next one, hold on. We got to do this right here. Uh-oh. So let's put that up on the screen, and then where's it? There you go. And we'll march our way up. So I hope you liked. That was character creation. I've got a lot of nostalgia for this game, and I don't just like it because of the nostalgia. I truly mean that if you were to run a Star Wars D6 game right now, get your friends together, get a copy of the book, if you can, a PDF, whatever you can do to get a copy of the book, and run this game, you cannot go wrong. You really cannot. If you're a fan of the original trilogy and want to recapture that, but play it your own style, and you want to do some Corsac stuff, you want to do some Jedi hunting, you want to just hide from the Empire, you want to support the rebellion, you just want to make your way in the world, whatever, you can. If you're playing original trilogy, you cannot go wrong with this. I'm going to say it. I'm going to probably say it through all the videos here. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to play it. For you folks who played the Fantasy Flight version and really like it, or even you weirdos who like, for whatever reason, the D20 version, really give this one a go. And if you are not convinced that this is the way Star Wars is meant to be played, then you're not a Star Wars fan. And I mean that in all seriousness. You might be, a D20 fan, or you might be some generic role-playing, but you're not a Star Wars fan. If you played Star Wars D6 and don't say it is the best rendition of Star Wars for the original trilogy era, then you don't know what you're talking about. And with that, like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to talking to you all in the next one when we talk about attributes and skills.